All right, YouTube, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We are in the bye week for the Auburn Tigers. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. It depends on who you ask how you feel about Auburn at 5-1 at this point in the season. If you ask me, if you look at some of my past videos, you would understand that for me, this is a state of euphoria for me because I did not expect Auburn to be not only 5-1, but actually in the driver's seat in the SEC Conference, SEC West, considering the loss to Florida is actually a non-divisional win. Let's look back at 2013. Auburn was actually in okay shape losing to LSU, but when you lose a divisional game, that puts that extra pressure on you to have to win out. Okay, now Auburn, obviously, after the LSU game, got some things together offensively, started to get some identity, especially with the crucial win over Texas A&M. The rest is history all the way up to the the national championship, where Auburn lost to Florida State within seconds of that particular football game. But since then, you go back to 2016. The issue with 2016 was the fact that Auburn was already in deep trouble to begin with the early season loss to Clemson, and then an SEC West. Now, mind you, checkpoint this now, SEC West loss early. So guess what? Once again, you're under pressure. Now, there was a situation where Auburn led a run in 2016 where it was kind of plausible to think statistically that Auburn would have an opportunity to be the first playoff team, the first team of the college football playoff era to have an opportunity to make it in with 2 losses. The only issue is depth became a concern. Cameron Petway goes down. Sean White goes down. Auburn lays an egg in Sanford Stadium in Georgia, 13-7. And then subsequently, which I felt was going to happen anyway, wound up losing to Alabama in the Iron Bowl on that season, and then subsequently got embarrassed by Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. Fast forward to 2017, another situation where Auburn was in, kind of okay shape. Here's the deal. Auburn actually lost to Clemson early, then lost inexplicably to LSU, but led a monstrous run all the way to the SEC championship game, and then, of course, lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game, lost to UCF in the Peach Bowl. Now, we've talked about this before, guys, but the only difference is in 2019. Well, no. Let's talk about 2018 real quick and show you the levels of improvement. By now, if this were 2018, statistically, Auburn is already out of the conversation for any type of surmountable chance to win the SEC West because they had already lost 3 conference games by the time mid-October happened. 2019, Auburn is 5-1, already having beaten Oregon, already having beaten 2 SEC West foes. I think this is the best position statistically mid-season that Gus Malzahn has actually been in his entire career at Auburn. The key is where the Gus Malzahn is going to make Gus Malzahn and his staff, are they going to make the adjustments to make this one actually count? Now, like I said before, you got games at home against Alabama and Georgia. Auburn has fared very well against Alabama and Georgia in Jordan-Hare Stadium for the most part. Also, you got a situation where I think Boobie Whitlow, the second leading rusher in the SEC, I'm not sure if he's being utilized properly because this whole wait until the second half thing to really get him going is really killing the offense. And also, I talked about this in some videos earlier during the offseason. Is Auburn's level of third down conversions, especially third down and short? Now, I saw it on video footage, but it was really glaring to me to actually see that there was a stat, that there was someone who had kept up with these particular stats. And as it turns out, what I saw on video footage transferred over to actual stats. Auburn is only 64% on 3rd down and 2 or less. That is a dangerous stat going into this portion of the season. One area where I saw this really stick out like a sore thumb was against, say, Tulane. When you got 3rd down and 2, and instead of just running for the 1st down, you run kind of an out route just slightly past the line of scrimmage. Very low percentage play, in my opinion. Eli Stove misses the football. Now all of a sudden you got to punt on 3rd and 2. How many times, Auburn fans, have you seen Auburn punt on less than 3rd and 5? That's because the play calling has to get a little bit more creative. Gus Malzahn has to get more so in the mind of continuing to move the chains versus wanting to make the highlight reel. And that's exactly what has been happening. Furthermore, it puts a guy like Bo Nix in a bad position. You already have a guy that's struggling with confidence. You already have a guy that's struggling with some accuracy issues. Why not put him in a position to where get him some 3rd downs, get the chains moving, get some rhythm going? And we've seen when Bo Nix has been able to get into some kind of rhythm, get into some kind of level of confidence, that he actually performs pretty well. I mean, there's no doubt that he can actually make the throws. There's no doubt that he can possibly improve, especially. I mean, you can't go anywhere but up, considering 3 interceptions against Florida. Also had 2 against Oregon. See, that's the thing. That's the thing that Bo Nix is definitely going to have to improve on. And that's going to come with the help of Gus Malzahn in the next few games, because you're going to continue to play against elite defensive lines. You're going to continue to play against elite secondaries. So Florida is not the last one. As a matter of fact, Florida is just the beginning of what, Bo Nix and Gus Malzahn will have to face down the stretch. And they're going to have to be patient. Trying to go for the deep ball, trying to go for the difficult routes are not going to help Bo Nix and Auburn be successful. Even if you put Joey Gatewood in, some of the play call selections are just not going to work until you get certain things going. I still feel that Auburn is missing an opportunity in their running game to go ahead and get more yards even on 1st down. I think Auburn needs to go ahead and start attacking the edge. They've been very good at that this year. No matter what team they play, they run relatively well on the edge. Also, too, I think Bo Nix as a run-pass option quarterback is a good deal. However, he's had most of the yards that you've seen, these big breakout yards, kind of sort of right up the middle. I think some more designed quarterback draws will be great for him because he has great, forward speed. Now, trying to hit the edge, he kind of sort of does. He's kind of missing a step on that edge, kind of like Cam Newton. Once Cam Newton got around the edge, he was pretty good. But his initial first 2 or 3 steps really weren't all that great. So either way, run-pass option with Bo Nix, especially keeping it and then, turning the ball up pretty quickly, not trying to get around the edge, because especially as SEC football continues to tighten up for Auburn, it's just not going to be there for Bo Nix. But either way, I just think that Bo Nix has a great opportunity, but he's got to get some help from Gus Malzahn from a play calling standpoint. I'm still disappointed. I actually talked about this in a video with Eli Stove and Will Hastings, how they were very effective in not only the deep game, but they were really effective in the intermediate passing game under Jarrett Stidham. I'm just still wondering why Gus Malzahn, Kenny Dillingham, Cody Burns have not taken advantage of Auburn's speed in the secondary, because Florida damn sure did it. Florida exploited the linebackers. Florida created mismatches. It's time for Gus Malzahn to really start getting creative and create some of the mismatches that he can create with Eli Stove, Anthony Schwartz, Matthew Hill. Anthony Schwartz is good, way better than just him being a one-trick pony on a jet sweep. He can run routes, like he can create mismatches. So that's something that, within this 2-week bye week, Auburn is really going to have to figure out how to get the ball to their playmakers. Now, on the defensive side of the football field, these guys have played all but lights out, okay? The only issue at this midway point of the season is Auburn's tendency to give up big plays, a 40-yarder against Texas A&M, a long touchdown against Kent State. And if you think about this particular Florida game, Two plays, guys. 166 yards on 2 plays. Florida only had 398 yards for the whole game. So you're talking about a 38% production rate on 2 plays. What does that mean? That means everywhere in between, Auburn played relatively well. So that's another stat that you got to look at, is Auburn's tendency to give up the big play. Very good play call, though. Every time I see this play call, I'm just in absolute awe of how Dan Mullen set this play up. You got trips to the left, so that means that's the perceived strong side of the football field. Then you come right back with sort of a sweep to the right. KJ Britt, I call him, when I look at this matchup, it's a half matchup with KJ Britt because he was off balance. Usually KJ Britt doesn't miss those tackles, but he was off balance, so he was a half matchup. Now the real one-on-one matchup, which appears that Dan Mullen wanted, was the matchup between Perine and Smoke Monday, and Perine won it with flying colors. 88 yards, touchdown. Florida puts the game away. That's how you set plays up like that, by being patient and by creating mismatches and actually looking for mismatches on the field. I don't think Gus Malzahn, so far as a play caller, has done a good job of really surveying the field and looking for mismatches, because with the speed that he has at the running back position, at the wide receiver position, I don't think Gus Malzahn is really maxing out his opportunities. Now, who knows? Within the next few weeks, maybe he'll go back and look at some video and see some opportunities. But Gus Malzahn can no longer hold back. I mean, he's in a situation where the base sets and trying to just throw the ball, straight down the field. He's got to take advantage of more strategic routes and make the defense work for it. Really make the defense have to strategize in order to stop you. And he can do it. And he's done it before. It's just, so far, he just has not committed to I understand the tempo, but you still got to get those yards that you have to earn. Like your sweeps and your your dives up the middle. You got to chunk away. You got to take advantage of quick routes. You got to take advantage of intermediate routes. That's the only way you're going to loosen these defenses up. All right, guys, now we're at the middle of the season. Sorry, guys, I'm losing my voice a little bit. But either way, we're at the midway point of this particular season. I think this is the best place in Gus Malzahn's career statistically that Auburn has been mid-season. Here's why, like I told you earlier before. Number one, Auburn has the experience and really has taken advantage of beating a couple of top 25 teams. Missed the mark against Florida, but hey, it is what it is. It's kind of hard to beat a team when you have 4 turnovers. Actually, I don't see how either team won with 4 turnovers. But anyway, the key point is everything is still in front of you. Auburn wins out. They're in the SEC championship game with an opportunity to possibly go to the college football playoff. And this is what Auburn had to do anyway. Whether you beat Florida or not, you still were going. It doesn't change the fact that you have LSU in a couple of weeks. You got Mississippi, and then you got a bye week, which I think was pretty slick on Auburn's part to get that bye week between Mississippi and Georgia. Then you got Georgia, then you got Samford, and then you got Alabama. You're going to have to play that gauntlet anyway. So move on from the Florida loss. I think Gus Malzahn needs to sit down and get his troops back together. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.